Welcome to another It's Live show. Did you ever think this was coming back? I didn't either. The last one was in February? Yep, it was. Do I even remember how to do this? No, I don't, which is why I'm in a cold sweat panic before going live. Nothing was working. I think some of it's working now. I have no idea. I'm going to do a quick check just to make sure. Let me just listen in. I didn't either. I think it is working, so that's just groovy. Wow. Okay, so one thing is this was meant to be a bi-weekly live show. The It's Live show was meant to be bi-weekly, every other Wednesday. It hasn't been for some time. Maybe we should make it monthly, or maybe it should be quarterly. Is what it should be. I don't know, but we'll try to get it back on track. There's just been a lot going on, and hopefully you've been enjoying some of the other videos on the channel. But we'd like to get the live shows coming back. And you know what? When you're having trouble making one live show, the best thing you can do is try to make 2 live shows. So tomorrow, the plan is to live stream on Twitch. You know, I've barely got YouTube live streaming working, so why not try Twitch as well? That's what I figure. So tomorrow, Matthew and I are going to live stream Sagrada, the physical copy of it, actually, playing that together. If you've never been to the Watch It Played Twitch channel, that's okay. It hasn't been active in a long while. And it is it's at twitch.tv/watchitplayed, I'm pretty sure. I'll put a link to it. I think there is a link to it in the description. It's a dusty link. You'll have to dust it off, but you'll find it in the description of this video, I believe. And we'll be going live at, I think it'll be 1:00 p.m. my time. Atlantic time. That's right. Atlantic time. It's more east than Eastern, which is, I think, noon Eastern time. Yeah. I'll have an announcement up on social media if you want to look for it there. Or if you want, in the meantime, you can follow or subscribe or do the thing that people do when they want to follow a Twitch channel, and you'll get a notification when we go live. Excuse me, I'm about to cough. Sorry about that. So yes, that's something else to keep an eye out for. But we're here right now for this live show. I'm going to try to take this. This is going to be a lighter live show. There's not going to be a lot of like ridiculous shenanigans. I'm not going to be flipping a cake or dyeing my hair, any of the other stuff I sometimes do. This is going to be a little more subtle, but we are trying something new anyway. We are doing something new. Normally at this point in the live show, I would tell people, hey, if you have a question, ask the question by putting question in all caps and then adding your question. But don't do that this time. We've got something new we're trying out. Something new. Let me show you. Let me show you if I can show you. Let me see here. I'm going to switch over here and make sure this is ready. Yes. Okay. Here is hopefully right now you are seeing a new method for collecting questions during the live show. Because when you post your questions, even with the all caps question in the front, some people forget to do that. But even when you're doing that, when there's so much conversation, it's still hard to find the questions. Well, I want to make it a little easier to find so we don't miss them. Because after the live shows, I'll go back through and I'll watch and I'll check the comments to see if I missed any. And sure enough, there's all kinds of great comments I missed and questions I missed. So, excuse me, here is a spot you can go to. It's at watchitplay.tv/chat. You'll find a link in the description of this video. So you can just click on that link. It'll take you here. You'll notice at the top here, you're seeing my screen where I'm already logged in. You see, notice that it says, hey, are you already a patron? Log in. You don't have to be a Patreon backer of the channel to be able to ask your questions here. Anyone can ask questions here. You should instead see an option to submit a question. And I'll be checking the chat in a moment just to see if there's any questions about how all of this works. But anyway, if you are a Patreon backer, you can log in here, and that way your name will pop up when you post a question, or you can just ask a question here and add your name if you're just posting without being a Patreon backer. And if you like a question someone's asked, you can go through the list and give it a thumbs up, and that will push it up to the top. You'll notice there's a bunch of questions already in here that did come from Patreon backers, and they also came in here and voted things up. And if you're a Patreon backer, you do get a couple extra votes. When you vote, it's worth just a little bit more, just 3 points, and everyone else is worth 1 point. So if you want to become a Patreon backer and get that little extra perk, you certainly can. You'll find links to that in the description as well. And speaking of which, we've been doing a lot of extra Patreon content lately. It's been fun. Every 2 weeks, there's a little video from me, a little vlog video from me, as well as from the other people on the channel. So if you want to check that out, feel free. But if there's any challenges doing this, if you're having any difficulty, if it's not working, I want to hear about every little problem, because then I can go complain to Chaz about it, because Chaz did a lot of the work on making this work. So hopefully it's going to work smoothly, but if it doesn't, we do want to know so we can try to improve it over time. So right now, I'm just going to go over to the chat and see if anyone's got any questions about any of that before we get much further. And I also have something else I want to mention, because there was a good there was a little good note from, I think it was Dezilla earlier, asking, so did everyone's comments get a heart recently from Watch It Played today? You might have noticed if you posted a comment on a Watch It Played video from even months ago that there was, suddenly you were getting comments, hearts, or little things like that. That's because I've noticed a funny little glitch in YouTube comments. On the back end of YouTube, I can see, for example, every comment that comes in. It kind of collects them all together and says, hey, here's all the comments you haven't responded to. And I do my best to respond to all the comments, and Chaz also helps me with that, with some of the new videos that we're putting on there. And I noticed some comments that, once I started replying to some from older videos started to backfill in. And so the more I was replying and responding to comments, the more older comments I was seeing. So I uncovered basically a bunch of comments that I thought I had responded to that I never had. So I went through and I started hearting at least to acknowledge. I want people to know, hey, when you leave a comment that it's been seen in some respect, even though it's just dropping a little heart in there. So if some of you noticed that, that's why. I've actually caught up to 1 year ago today, pretty much. Every comment now on every video from today all the way back to 1 year ago have all either been acknowledged with a heart or responded to in some respect. Will I keep going? Possibly. We'll see. Okay, so I just want to know, I'm just looking here. Now I'm seeing a question from Tim asking, asking a question. So Tim, if you want to ask a question, please check the link in the description of this video. I'm probably going to have to keep sort of repeating that throughout this video because this is something new. You'll find a link to where you can go to post your question. And I'm also going to be having a special guest join me a little later as well, so stick around for that. But let's do a couple other things. Let's get a couple other things out of the way. First of all, I want to acknowledge a couple super chats that we got last time. Super chats are questions that come through here on YouTube that you can donate to the show and your chat will pop up. Now, we don't have a way of collecting those super chats separately right now between the two systems, so that's something we're going to have to think about. But I just want to acknowledge Jason Tupek and Brandon Apter, who gave us super chats all the way back in February. And again, our system didn't catch it, or YouTube didn't catch it. I didn't catch it when it was happening during the live show. I also want to mention our sponsor quickly. Our sponsor is Board Game Arena, and I want to show a couple things that have been happening over there on Board Game Arena because, well, I think since the last time we spoke, they got acquired by or are collaborating with Asmodee. And they've added a whole bunch of new games, including Splendor, for example. Splendor is now available on Board Game Arena. And if you're not familiar with Board Game Arena, it's basically a place you can come to and you can play games online. These games have all been licensed with the publisher. So the publisher has endorsed the use of their game on this platform. And if you don't know how to play the game, you can come in and get a video explanation. For example, you click here, you might see a tutorial video. Not from me, apparently. Not from me. Not every time. Lots of great people making content out there, including tutorials. But you can see here this little animation down here. It was showing a little animation. You can see the game in action. It's pretty nice. They create these sort of 3D views now. Board Game Arena used to be very flat and static, I found in the past, but they're making them quite a bit more graphically appealing, frankly. Dungeon Pets got added, so you can come on here and see and play Dungeon Pets with friends. Lost Ruins of Arnak. That's a super popular game right now. A game I haven't played yet and hope to, and you can find that on here and play it as well. So you can connect up with strangers, you can connect up with friends, you can add your friends on here and connect and play, and you can take your turns asynchronously, so you can take your turn, walk away, you'll get a notification when it's your turn again, and come back and play it afterwards. So it's a pretty great system, and it's been a really great way for people to connect, of course, over this past year where it's been harder for people to get together or impossible for people to get together. So nice to see that still thriving and doing well. Is there anything else I want to tell you before I bring on our guest? Oh, yeah, I will mention this quickly. I think I put a link in the description of this video to it. Someone made a new badge on Board Game Geek. You know, on Board Game Geek, you can have an avatar and you have little badges below your name. Someone made a Rodney badge. So you'll find a link in the description of this video to that Rodney badge if you want to add it. I'll give credit where it's due. That was from Pup Selshon, created this little badge and let me know about it. So there you go. All right, well, I think it's time to bring on our guest. Let's see if I can do that with some success. Mark, are you there?
I am here.
Excellent, Mark.
Hello.
Well, this is wonderful. Everyone, this is my good friend, Mark. Mark actually works with AireCon, one of the, what do you call yourself? Founders, creators? The original home opener?
Yeah. Overlord?
Overlord. Oh, have you gone with that? Boy, you got dark quick. Mark, I talked a little bit about AireCon recently, an announcement. I mean, we both made announcements about the collaboration between Watch It Played and AireCon that's coming up for 2022. But I would love if you just shared briefly a little story of how AireCon started. And I'll just say this quickly before you do. AireCon is a convention that takes place in Harrogate now, and it's been going how many years, Mark? How many years have you been running? I know this is up for some debate.
Yeah, six.
Yeah.
6 years since the first one.
Right.
Well, if that helps. Yeah.
And I said it's up for some debate because I know last year you were not able to hold AireCon in the traditional way, right?
This year. So
Sorry, yes,
the one that we should have had this year.
Right.
Yeah. So we had been numbering them, and we had something a few years ago where we went through all the numbers. We changed all the numbers, and we made the first one 0 because this kind of goes into some of the history. Yeah. The first one actually happened in my house, my apartment that I was living in at the time, with just a few friends. And that one was originally 1, but we kind of felt as we kept going, it was a bit unfair for people that didn't even have the chance to attend that. To, like people like saying, "Oh, I've been to all of them." Yeah. And they were like, "Oh, I can't really say I went to that one because it wasn't really a public event. It was It was just me and a bunch of friends." So, so we changed it already once and made that first one 0, and then they kind of went going 1, 2, 3, 4, and it was quite nice because it matched up. So the number 5 was in our 5th year, and number 6 was in our 6th year. But then this year should have been number 7, which would have been our 7th year. It's quite easy to remember, so it means when we get to 2025, that would be 10.
Right.
But now we're kind of like, well, do we call...
I'm not going to say that this was the worst thing that COVID did, but it certainly did mess with your numbering system.
Yeah. My spreadsheets are like all out of whack. Each year we have a whole new mothership spreadsheet that we use that we were nicely numbering, and now it's like, well, so is now next year is 7, and we just... Or do we still honor that there could have been a 7 and the next one is 8? Or do we go with a half number? Or do we just ditch the numbering now? And we just
one of the many challenges we'll be working to solve.
Yeah.
But I guess that first one in your apartment must have been enough of a success for you that you felt like, you and the other partners there felt like, hey, let's do something bigger.
Yeah, for sure. So how it kind of worked out was I probably have a very similar story to a lot of people that they're sort of getting into the hobby story. And I'll mention Paula's video here. If you've not seen it yet, her latest video on Things Get Dicey, which accurately, I think, describes quite a lot of people's journeys.
Yeah, I think so. You really should check this video. So go over to Things Get Dicey on YouTube, and the most recent, I mean, you should watch any number of her videos, but the most recent one that Mark's referring to is quite a treat, and I think it's very relatable for a lot of people who got into the hobby and didn't really know the terminology, or could even appreciate why would you ever like have more than 10 games. Like, there's just so, it's quite an emotional journey watching it, believe me.
So I was probably about 2013-ish. I had been a gamer when I was younger, when I was a kid. Like, I still go by this theory that there is kind of gaming families and non-gaming families, and you have the families that will play Monopoly and Cluedo and stuff, right, all together. And we were one of those families, and we used to go on camping trips, and we'd take games with us, and we'd make up our own games using those older kind of classic games.
Yes.
And then I kind of got into Warhammer as I went to college, and then some of the other games.
Oh, I didn't know. I don't think I knew that you played Warhammer.
Oh, yeah, I suppose 40K.
40K. I guess, is that maybe a rite of passage in the UK since it is located there?
Yeah, it could very well be. I was just retelling the story the other day of it was Eldar was my kind of faction for 40K, and I had amassed this huge collection, and it was the old little a lot of the lead minis and stuff, and my dad threw it all out by accident.
Oh, no kidding!
Yeah.
How does that happen by accident? Did you?
So I used to keep them.
Is that how bad your paint job was?
It was pretty bad, probably, especially the eyes. It's all. I just give up on the eyes in the end. So I used to keep them in an old toolbox that he had, one of these kind of ones that sort of stack and it opens up, and it was all very nice. It was a really nice way of, lined it all with foam, and it looked really good. And I think one day he was just cleaning out his kind of garage and stuff, and I happened to have my minis in there.
Oh, no.
And he just went, "Oh, I don't need this old toolbox anymore." Chucked it in the skip, along with all my
devastating.
So then, I kind of.
Although it was lead, right? He might have saved your life, frankly. Now that I think about it. Okay, sorry, continue.
So sort of skip ahead or keep playing games when I went home at Christmas and stuff. And then about 2013, I went on a weekend away with some friends, and they introduced me to like Catan and Carcassonne and even Apples to Apples and things like that I'd never really heard of before.
Yeah.
And just then went, head first into it. I was getting my own copy of Catan for my next birthday or Christmas or whatever it was, and then like building up a collection very quickly. And then it was like I heard about these conventions, and so I went to the UK Games Expo, which is the largest convention here in the UK, and had a great time there. And I especially enjoyed kind of the community and the just being among the buzz of all these people, like just enjoying the hobby. And I was really excited by it. That same year, I think, sorry, it's the following year, I went back to Expo, and I had organized this little house convention in between, just after Expo. And it was, my wife was going away on a hen do for a weekend, and I thought, well, I'll just do this. And I think I said before, it's actually inspired you were talking about doing around that time about doing a small
I'd done a little
convention.
video. I think you're right. I think I'd done a little video saying, well, maybe I'll do a little convention here in Montague. That would be fun to do. Maybe some people locally will come, and maybe some people from away. And I think I then quickly panicked because people started expressing an interest. And I was like, oh, this, to run a convention could be quite, to run one well, I guess. Would require some effort and attention, especially if people are traveling from away. And I chickened out. And but you were saying around that time when I was talking about it, you were thinking about doing something similar, right?
Yeah, so it kind of just sparked a little thing. I was like, oh, just for a fun thing, I'll organize a little convention. My job at the time, and done for a little while, was in events organization, and I'd worked for various different companies doing that job. So I was like, oh, I think I probably know a bit. I'll have a go. And
well, you were braver than me. Mark was braver than me. Mark went for it.
But I treated it as though it was a proper convention, and we had a sponsor, which was the local game store, and I made up the logo, and we put on events. I still have it. I should have got it out, shouldn't I? It's here somewhere. I have the whiteboard where I'd written the event schedule on it.
Yes.
And we had like a little games design thing, and we watched some of the documentaries. There was like a documentary about Ludofact that we sat down and watched, and there was this.
That's awesome. I love that you treated
guy.
it very seriously, even though you could sort of just say, well, it's just friends coming over to a house to play. You wanted it to have that kind of convention vibe for your attendees, right?
Yeah.
Did you have to kick anyone
sure.
out for being rowdy?
No, I was probably the rowdiest. So.
Probably, okay.
But we did silly things, like we did a Buckaroo championship. Not Buckaroo, Hungry Hippos.
Yes.
A championship that was very, very noisy, but it was good fun. We had a charity raffle that we still do today, you know, with, that we got a few games from local stores and stuff. So, yeah, and then it was around that time I'd gone to my second Games Expo. Again, had a great time. And then went to Essen that same year, and this was kind of between the two. And I went to Essen. I had a great time, and I would say if you're kind of around, I think it's worth going to. But I think that very much directed me to what I actually really loved about Games Expo is mostly that community side of things, and people coming together and playing games and walking through the gaming halls and just seeing all these different little worlds and these like people experiencing, and like they're kind of just in these little bubbles, but surrounded by loads of people that are all in their own little bubbles doing these amazing things.
Yeah, I think I made reference to that a little bit, Mark, in my announcement video, just saying that like those bigger conventions are exciting. There's a spectacle to them. I mean, for some people for some people it's like too much, right? But for a lot of people, it can be a very exciting thing to be a part of. But
Yeah,
the focus is different at those shows compared to one where the
sure.
primary focus is maybe playing games and getting together. I think BGCon's a convention that's similar where you know it's a lot of like coming together and playing games. That's what people are mostly doing. Yes, there are places you can go and buy a game, and there's sponsors and other things, but the focus is different. And that's, I think, very true for AireCon. I wasn't there last year, but I was there prior, and that was the thing that I walked away feeling it's like, oh, this is a very gaming-focused convention, and it's very relaxed and, I don't know, cozy. Although there's a lot of people who show up. How many people attended the last year where you had open, not AireCant, the last time you had in-person attendees?
Yeah, we were about 2,500 individuals over the weekend.
Yeah.
So.
And that was right when COVID was kicking off too, which I imagine dampened your numbers somewhat.
Yeah,
right?
what we actually noticed was, so the more sort of hardcore gamers were the ones that turned up still, the ones that had pre-booked tickets. What we noticed more was that it was the on-the-door sales and the
people just dropping
that were
by,
affected more, which, people that maybe live a bit closer and like, if we're free that weekend, we'll drop in. And it was those kind of numbers that were hit a bit more.
Yeah.
We think we probably would have been around 3,000-ish if it wasn't for COVID. But we had a great time still. It was obviously this weird thing kind of hanging over, especially as the UK was one of the later countries to start into lockdown and things like that. So we'd just heard that Ireland was banning events and that Germany was banning events and things like this. And we were like, oh, we're setting up on the day, refreshing our apps, see like our news apps to see what was going on because they were making an announcement. But it was great. We made sure we stayed as safe as we could within the current guidance, and we had a great time still. So
well, we look forward to being able to do something like this again, where we don't have those same concerns. I mean, obviously there's talk right now of conventions this year, and I think still some lingering concerns from people about like, is it time yet? One of the nice things about AireCon 2022 is it's still like later yet.
Yeah.
So we should have hopefully a much better sense of where things are going to be for that. I'm getting my vaccine hopefully this week if all goes well.
Okay.
So my first.
I just had my first one. I had my first one on Saturday, just gone.
Okay. So hopefully by that time, many more people will have it, and it'll be a little safer for travel. So yeah, we announced recently that Watch It Played and AireCon are going to be collaborating a little more closely for. Again, I've been to AireCon a few times, and I know some people probably want to like, well, what's going to be different? Well, in many ways, hopefully, if you're already really enjoying AireCon, it's not going to be dramatically different. All the things you liked about AireCon before will still be there, and we're just hoping that we can help. Bring a little more even to the show, and also even bring more attention to the show. Like I hope that people who live in the nearby area, or even from away, I've already heard from people who are saying they're thinking about buying tickets to fly over and be a part of it. So If you're looking for a holiday, which I think many people are, this is a very lovely place to come to, and also spend some time gaming. And we'd love to see you there for sure. Especially if you,
definitely.
if this is like your first convention too. Not to sell it too hard here, but I do think it's an ideal first convention because it is so gaming focused. If you're used to going over to friends' houses and playing games, this is like that plus. You know, there are some events for you to do. There are some people to go and see. You'll meet new friends for sure, and there are places to go buy new games, and of course do some touring around outside as well. So I think it. Do you get feedback like that from people who went there as their first con and found it to be good for that?
Yeah, definitely. I think because we still do have a bit of everything, so we still do have some of the exhibitors and the shopping aspect of it as well, that people can still experience that. And you still kind of get the sense of the buzz, especially, you know, on the Saturday afternoon when it's probably our peak peak time. You still get that kind of, oh, this is actually, there's a lot going on here. But you know, we put things in place to make sure that if you are starting to feel a bit overwhelmed, we have like a quiet gaming area that you can go and just chill out for a bit. We have something that the team from Fanboy 3 in Manchester run, which is called I'm going to get the name wrong. Roll Through It. So that's kind of a team of volunteers that are there just to chat to. So if about anything, and they'll sit there and they have some games. And so it's, again, if you're just feeling a bit kind of a little bit overwhelmed, you can go. There's things you can do. So
yeah.
But yeah, it is that nice kind of balance of it's big enough that you get a feel of like, is this something I would enjoy? But there's still plenty to do, and we hear it quite a lot. It gets recommended as a really good first convention for people.
Yeah, and don't worry, if you do want to shop and go home with bags of games, you can also accomplish that there too.
Plenty of opportunities for that, and I think generally because there is this relaxed atmosphere, I think, you know, our attendees really contribute to that a lot, of like just being very welcoming, and there's things in place that even if you're turning up by yourself, you should be able to find a game with someone. You know, we have systems in place that help you do that.
That was one of the things I was so happy to hear actually in the comments in the video that I posted about the announcement, was people sort of coming forward with their stories from being at AireCon. And that was one of the things a couple of people affirmed, like someone said, like, I came to AireCon by myself. Now, I think that's a very intimidating thing to do, to go to a convention on your own where you're not going with a group of friends that you can say, well, I know for sure I can game with these people, you know. And this is somebody who came alone, and they said, like, I was never alone like for any amount of time. If I was looking at the game shelf or wondering about a game to play, people would come along and go, hey, you looking for a game? We got one going over here. We'd love for you to join us, you know. So if you're looking for that, I think you'll find that, yes, people are very friendly and happy to game with folks. So it's another, I think it's another positive thing about AireCon. And if you're looking for events, yes, we'll be running events too, and group games that you can join in, and party games and other things that we'll be dreaming up. It might be time for another a strike tournament in the UK. It might be time for that, I'm thinking. So we'll see. We'll see.
That'd be great.
But yeah, if anyone wants to sort of keep abreast of like what's going on with AireCon, what would you say, Mark, is the best places to go for that? Like, there's obviously the website. What's the address for that?
Yeah, so that's airecon.co.uk. A little bit confused, it's got an E in the middle there. So it's AIRECON.co.uk. Or you can just Google search, it should.
Yes, but you're right. It's AIRECON, right?
Yeah, so there's a slightly funny story behind that. Is when I was doing the HouseCon, I wasn't thinking at the time that I would turn it into a proper convention. That was just a discussion that I had with Ben after I'd run that one. I was like, oh, maybe we should make this a proper thing. And for some reason, the name stuck, and it was actually a play on Gen Con. So for people that obviously Gen Con is one of the biggest. I don't know if it's the biggest. Gen Con or Essen, one of them is the biggest. And I looked into the history of Gen Con, and their name came from Lake Geneva.
Correct.
So that's the Gen of Gen Con. And so I was looking around my house, and the river that runs through Leeds, which is where I live in the UK, is the River Aire, which is AIRE. And I was like, AireCon. And
there you go.
And then I quite like a pun as well. So AireCon in the UK is what I guess, I don't know if it's the same in Canada, but in America you'd say AC. We would call it AireCon, air conditioning.
Gotcha. So
yes.
Yeah. No,
first.
We don't shrink it like that, but I get what you're saying.
Yeah. So the very first logo I did, it says, AireCon, it's cool.
You and Chaz are going to get on like gangbusters with all the puns. He's going to feel so at home at AireCon. It's going to make me very uncomfortable, but
So that's the story behind the name.
Right.
But we get confused whether we're in Ireland, because that's EIRE, or whether we're in Scotland. There's Air, which is AYR, and all sorts of things. But yeah, AireCon
the
with
sort
me.
of things you don't think about when you're just building your own home personal con and maybe expanding it a little bit. Not the sort of stuff you factor in, but it shows why you should.
Yeah, definitely.
So
Although
definitely
it helps us
website.
get good website addresses. There we go.
Right.
Maybe that'll help.
Oh, there you go. There, that's nice. You can see that now.
Yeah, Facebook. We have a Facebook group as well as the page. So we have the page where we kind of do the bigger announcements. We have a lovely AireCon community, which you can get to from the page there. Which, yeah, if you're thinking of coming and you want advice, go there. Someone started a thread that's like, who's already booked their hotels? And it's just, comments of people that have already got in. But if you want to go and just want to ask, like, where's the best place to eat? Or where are some good hotel recommendations? Or what should I do when I get there? Anything like that. There's a ton of people. There's also actually some people that they won't be attending the con, but they're kind of maybe small businesses and stuff in Harrogate. And they're there as well, and they're really good. Especially some of the hoteliers, they're in there, and they kind of like, yes, we are happy to provide some gaming room after hours or anything like this. And so it's really
that's
cool.
one of the things too. But where you're located, I mean, you are the big con in Harrogate, so
yeah,
it affords a certain amount of attention from the local businesses who then say, hey, we want to cater to the people who come to this convention because they're here in our community and it's good for business and other things. So I think that's another way in which people who attend will feel kind of taken care of out in the local community as well when they leave the convention center.
Yeah, definitely.
Nice.
And we were very fortunate actually that the last one that we ran last year, the Harrogate Council kind of got together and they wanted to put on this special event or this kind of special facility for people coming because they knew that people were coming from far and wide, which was kind of called Welcome Harrogate or something.
Yes.
But it was the first event that they tried out was AireCon. So as you arrived at the station, there were people from the council there to help you and show you which way to go and give you directions and give you little maps and coupons and various things. And then as you walked around the town, there was all these big signs saying welcome AireCon attendees, and people were putting stickers in the shop windows.
I love that. I think that's fantastic. I think it's something that as we get closer to it, it's something probably our team will put together too, a couple little videos just to kind of help. Hey, is it your first time going to AireCon? Here's some things to keep in mind. Here's some tips and tricks, or even just travel and how to get around and that sort of thing. We'll probably take care of all that. But you know what?
Yeah.
It's also possible that people who are watching right now have some questions. And I know we have some questions from them already. And I really want to try out this new questioning system that Chaz has built. So let me jump into it right now. And let's try to go through some of these questions. And remember, anyone who's watching at this moment in time, if you go to watchitplay.tv/chat, and you'll find a link to that in the description of this video, so you can just click on that. It will take you where you can submit your questions in our little website here. And you can also vote on questions that have been asked, and that will push them up, and we'll try to answer them here. And Mark, if you don't mind sticking around, you can help me try to answer some of these questions.
Definitely, yeah. I've been spamming softball questions in there all afternoon.
Well, look, we got the first question here. It says, what is the origin of the name AireCon? And that one's been taken care of. Okay. So that's fantastic. Oh, I'm realizing here, I've just realized something. This is going to disrupt the entire system. I'm personally not logged in here, so I need to log in right now, which hopefully is not on screen. I better double check. No, it's not. Let me log in so that I can see the update, because that way I can track the questions and also take them off the list as they're taken care of. So, okay, I'm in. This is good. Unfortunately, it's not giving me the option to. So, Chaz, if you're listening, I don't have the option to remove these questions as they come in. That's all right. We'll just go through them top to bottom. All right, so the first question about the origins of AireCon has been taken care of already. The next question was, is Paula as nice as she portrays herself in her videos, or is it all just an act? Well, I mean, she is an actress, so maybe we've all been fooled. In my experience, yes, as nice as. Actually, Mark, you got to meet Paula as well at AireCon last year. and so you can speak to that too, right?
Yeah, and I obviously don't have a lot of time when the con is running, so I didn't
Yeah.
maybe get to spend as much time as I would have liked to with the team there. But yeah, we went out for a meal after the show, and it was great. It was really just nice to hang out with. She's lovely. Yeah.
Yeah, I think a lot of what you see on screen, the passion for the hobby, the joy, the easy laughter, is all part of her personality. That's what you encounter when you're behind the scene too. So yes.
Yeah, I would say if you've ever watched her Twitch channel, she's just like that in real life.
Yeah, that's a good reason. I mean, we have team meetings for Watch It Play.
Halfway through a chat, she's going, "Thanks for the sub."
Yeah.
Sorry.
Well, like we we have regular team meetings. We're having one tomorrow actually, so we get to spend a lot of time, kind of again, away from the cameras, interacting with each other that way. And there's a reason why we're still working together a year later. I think we all really enjoy each other's company. Actually, we just celebrated our 1-year anniversary, really, for me and Chaz and Paul and Matthew. We've been creating content as a foursome now for a year as of May. So that was a nice thing to celebrate. And I think Chaz might be watching along because as questions are being asked, they're being removed, which is wonderful. Oh. Thank you, Chaz. All right. So a question here came in from somebody wondering what. Oh, here, I'm going to pause the refresh list here. Someone wants to know, what is Mark's favorite game? That question comes from James. Do you have a favorite?
Yeah. I don't think I have a single favorite. I think for me, very much, because I'm very much on the social end of gaming, it depends on the crowd or the group that I'm playing with.
I also do that, Mark. I dodged that question by saying things like that too. Yeah.
I'd say a few of my favorites is Brew Crafters. I'm a big craft beer fan, so and it's basically Agricola but with craft beer.
Right.
So
that's the theme you enjoy.
Ticket to Ride. Yeah, Ticket to Ride is constantly up there.
Oh, can I show you something?
So, yeah.
It's very rude for the host to leave the stream, but just you keep telling everyone about your favorite, and if you get through your favorite games, someone would like to know as well what the attendance has been at AireCon so far. That's a question from Hammer. I know you mentioned like what it was the previous year that you had attendees, but maybe just a little trend would be interesting to hear too. I'll be right back.
Yeah, sure.
2 seconds.
Other favorite games, Castel is a big one that I like. Genta's, Cinque Terre, which is hard to get, but that's probably enough. So attendance, the first time we were about 20 people in my house. We went up, and then we started limiting it actually. So we never know if it could have been higher. We went to 100, then about 250, then about, I want to say 650, and then about 1,300, and then about 2,000, and then about 2,500 last year. So,
thanks for holding down the fort. Appreciate that. And now I realize...
Sorry, I've kicked you off, and I am now just running the stream myself.
I'm realizing now I ran away to get something. I'm not even sure if I'm allowed. I don't know if there's an embargo.
Wow.
I don't know if there's an embargo, so I'll just show the corner of it. It's Ticket to Ride something.
Nice.
It's an anniversary edition of something. I don't know. I can't say it now. I'm too much of a professional. I can't do it. Although I've left the stream. I started late. I've probably broken an embargo. Not the professional.
So you might be able to see this big. It doesn't look that big because it's far away. The big box there.
I do.
All my Ticket to Rides. That's all my Ticket to Ride stuff.
Oh, nice, nice. Okay.
In a big chest, and I just backed. There was a little Kickstarter to get some funky little trains, and I just backed that.
Oh, that Kickstarter was great. The creator reached out to me to show me what they were doing. I was like, "This is a genius idea. I think you're going to make a killing." That's the sort of thing. People who can't maybe afford some of those deluxe anniversary editions can kind of have that experience. All right. Well, thank you. Did you answer the question on the attendance so far?
Yes, we did. Right. I was just doing that. I timed it perfectly.
Brilliant. You're so good. So someone asked, like, how big is it compared to the UK Games Expo, for example?
So Games Expo is about 10 times bigger in terms of numbers of people. I think I'm trying to describe a good way of describing the difference is though Games Expo is obviously spread over quite a large area. They have some really big halls of exhibitors, whereas I guess AireCon is kind of much smaller, and we have the exhibitors in with all of the gaming, so everything's kind of there.
Right.
Yeah. But I love Expo. I'm hoping it can happen this year.
I've never been. I'd like to go sometime, but I haven't been to that one.
Yeah, it's great.
I just got a question in our question app which is Chaz writing me a comment saying, I'm here and I'm curating the chat comments for you. Thank you, Chaz. Appreciate that. And here's a great question from James. James is full of great questions. What are the dates for the next AireCon? That's probably something worth sharing.
Yeah, sure. It's going to be the 11th to the 13th of March. So.
Right. And again, you will find that on airecon.co.uk. Is that right? Did I get that right?
.co.uk. Yeah, that's fine.
That's it. Okay.
Yeah.
Or Google it.
You'll figure it out. Or Google it's probably.
It's how I find every game on BGG. I Google it.
Yeah. I now just Google it and then put BGG after it.
Yes, same here. I will. That's right. Because sometimes you will get the Kickstarter page or you'll get the publisher's page, and I almost never want either of those things. So you're right. Put the game title and then BGG. All right. So someone asked, what is your fondest memory from previous AireCons? That's a good question. I mean, it's tricky for me right now. My fondest memory is just that I was at a convention. That was really nice. For me, it was a lot of firsts, right? Because when I went to AireCon, I did a few things I'd never been, first of all. And, you and I went to Nottingham, to the Games Workshop facility, cool. Which was brilliant. That wasn't a part of AireCon, but it was part of my trip to AireCon, which was amazing. We also had to chase down that barge for our river journey, which was amazing. Mark had arranged a little outing for a few people at AireCon, and that was really fun. Got to have like the brass and Lancashire experience, brass Birmingham experience going down the river. It's awesome.
Yeah.
Do you have any favorite experiences from the convention? It's tough. I have to imagine it's tough for you because you're running it. And I have to imagine it's sort of like being in your own wedding. It's just kind of a blur, you know?
Yeah, definitely. It's one of those things you kind of get to the end of it, like it feels like ages since I've slept in my own bed, but it's also gone so quickly, and so much has happened. I think I have a recurring favorite memory, and it's the team of us that run it. So obviously the first one was just me, and then Ben came on board, and we ran the next couple, the two of us, and then we brought Nabil and Rick on as well.
Right.
And there's the four of us as directors, and we will set a time, which is actually a weird thing that I did at my wedding as well. We set a time and a place that we would meet up, and we would just sort of chill out together and walk around and just be almost kind of try and experience it as an attendee. And we have done that every year. And it was advice that someone gave me for my wedding. They were like, set a time and a place that you and Jenny will meet, because the wedding will be so busy that you'll get to the end of it and realize you've not seen each other all evening. And so we did that, and we met at the bar at our wedding, and then it's something we do through AireCon.
What a brilliant exercise. So do you time it for something in particular, or is it more let's just pick this random time where no matter what we're just going to kind of break? I suppose you probably have to time it around certain things that you have to be responsible for, but kind of when you you sort of stop being showrunners for those few minutes, like you role play like, hey, we're just here hanging out.
Yeah. We tend to do it on the Saturday afternoon because it's the busiest time for the show, but weirdly for us, it's quite quiet. We have no setup, we have no breakdown, events. Everything is kind of running at that point, so there's not a lot for us. There's still always stuff for us to do, but it's the time where we can take time out and we can be like. So we usually do it sort of 2:00 Saturday afternoon.
Right.
We're like, let's sit here.
That's brilliant. That's a great idea. I almost think that's good advice for anyone at a convention. Like just take a moment and just do something else for a little bit. Even if it's like stepping outside of the convention hall and just walking around the block. Sometimes just getting a little fresh air or whatever can be really nice as well. That's very cool. I like that.
Yeah.
So Diz Eagle Eye would like to know any idea what the ticket prices for AireCon will be. I imagine you do have some idea.
I'm trying to remember what they were last time.
We've caught them out.
They are not. They're not expensive, is what I know.
No, they're not. They're not.
I think it's roughly about £15 for a single day, and it's usually around £35 to £40 for the full event.
It's a steal, frankly. Especially, coming from North America, especially in the ticket prices they charge for conventions there, it's quite a good deal, and you will more than get your money's worth out of it. That's for sure.
And I'll say what we also try and do is include as much as we can within that ticket price. So once you're in, it's obviously not everything is free, but you could then not spend any more money.
Take all the games in the library.
Yeah, but we have free water fountains there, so if you bring a water bottle, you can top up water for free.
Right.
Borrowing from the games library is free. You leave a deposit, but you'll get that back, assuming you bring our games back.
Right.
Most of the events are free. I don't want to say all of them, but most of the events are free, and we like doing that because that's like an added extra.
Yeah.
Some of them we do have to charge for because there is a cost incurred in us running that or whatever.
Yeah.
And it's where it is in Harrogate is right within the sort of the town city centre, so you can walk out and go to any restaurant you want. We do have food on site, but if you'd rather go out and find something else, you can do that as well.
Lots good in walking distance for sure. You're not stranded somewhere. It's great
definitely.
that way.
So it's not like an event where even after the ticket price, you're then paying through the nose to be able to get a bottle of water or to get some food or to do whatever. So
that's a good point. 2.0. All right, well, we got a couple more questions here, and we've got about, I'd say, 10 more minutes. Let's see how many of these we can get through.
Sure.
So here's a question.
Speed.
Tell the story of your worst experience of being betrayed in a game. I have one. It's caps on the worst experience, because this was definitely my worst experience. It's not like the worst betrayal necessarily, although maybe it even reaches that level. I was in a local game group, and we were playing, what's the name of this game? It's a social deduction game. Oh gosh, it's the Silver Box. It's by the people who make Coup. It's the Resistance. It came to me. It's been a little while since I played the Resistance. We were playing that, and I had one of those moments where I knew something for sure. I had seen enough of what was going on to be able to piece one piece of information together, and I knew one person at the table for sure was the traitor. And I was making my case pretty passionately about it, and they were arguing with me about it. And in the end, it turned out I was wrong. And it broke my brain a little bit because I knew what I knew. You know what I mean? Like, I knew what I had seen and witnessed, so it didn't make any sense. Come to find out, that person had lied about what role they were. Meaning, like, within the rules of the game, they broke the rules. They just, they were the good guy, but they pretended to be the bad guy for no reason, type of thing, if you know what I'm saying. So it was like, they lied, basically. And it was, so we had more, we actually had more, if I remember correctly, he might have even like stuffed the wrong kind of card in or something. So like, it was very frustrating. It was like someone who was an agent of chaos in a game. And I realized I don't like that at all. I don't mind someone being like a trickster or jokester or whatever, but someone who's purposely trying to break the game in a game, I don't know that I love that. Because I need the rules to be the rules, and then I can play just fine within that space. You know what I mean? Technically, what the person did was cheat, and that was not fun for me. So it's not a fun story, but it was definitely the most frustrated I've ever been in a betrayal game. Do you have a story like that, or a better one maybe?
I think with that, that happens so many in those kinds of games. I love Resistance and still play it loads. There's the other one, Deception Murder in Hong Kong is a big favorite.
Yes.
Those kinds of games I really like. But I feel like that's built into the game. So is it really betrayal? Like when you're supposed to, like,
No, it's part. Like, I love getting fired up in those games. Like I love being like, I'm sure about something, and then finding out someone tricked me. Another, Don't Mess with Cthulhu. It's another great social deduction. Have you played that one, Mark?
I've not played that one. No.
Well, I know what we're going to be doing at next AireCon. Oh boy!
Played what's the big one with the book? The Blood on the Clock Tower.
I haven't played that one.
Cool.
Yeah, I've heard that one's really good.
That's cool because you have to have a GM for it.
Right.
It's really interesting. Definitely a convention type game. But I do have a similar story with the Resistance, where I was playing with a big group, and we went through the first couple of rounds really, really quickly, and the kind of good guys were winning, or the blue team or whatever were winning, and we were all really confused, like, because it rarely happens like that. And the one new person playing was like, "Can I just say that I think there might be something wrong with the game?" And we're like, "No, it's fine. It's fine. It's just the way the game is. It's fine." And so then we played through.
You were nervous the new player was going to give something away, right?
Yeah. And so the good guys won the first 3 in a row, and we were like, huh, we've never seen that happen. And then he kind of went, oh, so yeah, the issue was that I was the only spy. And we were like, there should have been 2. What's going on here? And it turned out someone that, as they looked at their card, it was sleeved, and the color of the top reflected onto the card that made them think they were one of the good guys.
Oh, no.
But they were actually one of the bad guys. So
that's actually very similar to my story, except yours was an accident, which is very excusable. Very excusable. And mine wasn't. Oh, here's an interesting question. Which board game from 2000 and prior do you think would get the most critical acclaim were it to be released today?
2000 prior. I think we probably knew this was coming because we had to actually research which were.
Yeah, we were doing both a little digging beforehand.
Prior to 2000. Yeah, I am going to go for El Grande. I think like an updated, new art, kind of just a new rulebook as well, because that.
Yes, you know, those are 2 things that would really help it. I think new art and yes, an updated rulebook, because the big box released and I picked that up. I love that game. It's really good area control game.
Got is it the decennial one or whatever it is?
You got me. I kind of forget.
Whatever that version of El Grande.
Yeah.
So I'd go with that.
It's a beautiful edition. If you've never played El Grande, you get a chance to. I do. It's a game I recommend. It's a really good one. It was difficult for me to think of games prior to 2000 without picking. You know, I think not everyone will agree with this, but I think Catan still holds up today. Again, for the type of game it is, I think it holds up just nice. Actually, some people's first game of Catan might be with that new anniversary edition that just got announced. Did you see that? The big 3D version?
Yeah.
Now, they talked about that a while ago, but I was really excited to see it announced. It looks as good as I would have expected. I wasn't sure. You know, sometimes when people announce a new anniversary edition of something, it comes out and you kind of go, does that really live up to the anniversary deluxe expectations I had? Mm-hmm. This one, I have to say, it does. It does. So I think one of the ones we discussed was For Sale. Like that is, right? That was one that was, I think prior to 2000. That's a game I still love today. I love teaching that to people. I think it's one of those games that gives you a really nice aha moment when they're playing, where it's like, oh, I see how this goes.
Oh,
like,
I've spent all my money already.
Yeah. Now I'm stuck with these things. And that's fun. We were thinking about No Thanks, but that's after? Was that after 2000?
I think that's post 2000, yeah.
Yeah, that's another great game. I think that still holds up today. Good question. Here's a question. What is your opinion of 1980s, 1990s VCR board game technology? Ahead of its time, or should it never have existed? I don't think I ever had a VHS board game. Did you?
Yeah, I definitely played a couple of the Atmosphere games. I don't know if there were many. I'm not very knowledgeable on it. I definitely played some of them and had fun with them, I think.
Were those localized for the UK or not?
Well, they must. I don't know if they just used the same, because we had a different VHS technology, I guess, to most of the world. The PAL versus whatever the other ones.
All right. Yeah, that's true too.
But I don't know if they re-recorded everything for it.
Yeah.
But I remember having fun with it. I think I would say that they were the early equivalent of things like Chronicles of Crime or something like the app.
Right.
The app style
That's a
games.
good comparison. I mean, I haven't played it, but I'm aware of Atmosphere, and I think it's the sort of thing you can play online still, like through YouTube. I think people have uploaded.
Oh, really?
I think so, like the Atmosphere videos that you can play somehow. I don't know, but I've heard that. Interesting.
Yeah.
You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to do something topsy-turvy. I'm going to jump down to the bottom of this list.
Oh, wow.
Because I know some of the questions on here, they've been voted up quite high because they were posted by Patreon backers a while ago, and I'd like to answer a few people who are asking here in the chat today. Mm-hmm. Someone asking, what do you think of the 3D edition of Catan that's been announced? James, I think it's very cool. I'm very intrigued by it.
That's lovely.
I broke out Catan quite recently to teach to my family, and we all had a really good time, and it just kind of reminded me, this is a game that's still got legs, for me anyway.
Yeah.
Let me see here. At what time will Rodney be playing coin games against multiple opponents? A la Chessmaster, asks Tomcat MVD. Well, for anyone who doesn't know, I have discovered for myself coin games. They're called, that's a shorthand for counterinsurgency, designed initially by Vocal Runke and published by GMT. And there's a whole series of them now of different settings and things. And I have fallen hard for these games, Mark. I am playing them all the time. If you want to, I've already ascended to that level of like playing multiple games at a time. If we went around the corner right now, you would find 4 games of coins set up, all of them in various states of play. I've been playing them remotely with people. We take our phones and we shoot and explain our turn on the table, move the pieces around, and then just forward that through WhatsApp to the other players, who then update their board. They take their turn and send it on. And I have a friend coming over tomorrow, and we're going to play a game together live. I taught 3 people locally here over the weekend, and when he was done, he's like, he wrote me, I've been thinking about that game ever since. Can we play again? And I'm like, yes, I hooked another one. It's great having people locally to be able to play with too. So I don't know if you'd have any interest in that style of game, Mark, but I'm basically just trying to teach everyone these games right now. I'm really, it's fired up my passion.
To give anything a go, yeah. Yeah, I saw the little video that I think you did on Twitter or something where you sort of showed the 4 different boards that you were playing. Do you ever get mixed up though and do the wrong move on the wrong board? And you're like, this was my plan for this one, but I accidentally did it on this one.
I haven't gotten mixed up strategy-wise, but I've definitely got mixed up rules-wise, because it helps when you know one of them. There are core things that translate from one to the next, but there are subtle differences. And remembering those subtle differences can be a bit of a challenge. But one of the things I was playing, boy, this is tricky, because I said we're going to be done in like 2 minutes. We start talking coin, I could be here for another half hour. Me and my friend who were playing one of the 2-player, usually you can play up to 4 players. There's a coin game that was released that's specifically for 2 players, 1 or 2 players. And we're playing that one. And we're about halfway through the game, or maybe a third way through the game. And we had this sort of conversation about the way the game's been going, because it has been going kind of in a weird direction. And we kind of realized we've been playing this particular coin game the way we've been playing the other ones. And the strategies, what I mean is like the way we're approaching the strategies. And we realized we're playing this wrong in a way, like in terms of our approach to the strategy. And we started talking about the way it makes sense to play. Our minds kind of exploded like, oh my goodness, they've taken the same system and given people a totally different way of approaching the strategies of the game. And that was really kind of an exciting moment to kind of go like, oh, I can't wait to play this again, kind of realize what we've unpacked here. And I think a lot of the games offer that. They offer, although some things will translate similarly, there's lots of things that are different that change how it feels to play them. So anyway, I got to stop myself because I will just go. But it's been really great to discover this style of game. In no way was I tiring of the hobby, but it's definitely lit a new kind of fire in me of discovery, a sense of discovery that I haven't felt in a long while, and that's been really, really exciting. And it's been fun to kind of share that a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah.
Somebody was asking, James was asking, have you played the new Keyforge Adventures print and play? I have not. I'm very curious to, but here's the problem. It requires printing and playing it. And I don't feel like I have the time right now to do an arts and crafts kind of project to play a game. It's just where I'm at right now in my life. I don't know. I don't even know how much time it would take. Maybe it's only like 10 minutes, but I don't know. So I'm like, I'm not even thinking about it, but I love the concept of it, that it's cooperative, that you can just play, you don't have to worry about your deck being super competitive. You're playing against an AI type of thing, right? So did you play Keyforge at all? I know you and I played, actually, I should say, you and I played some Keyforge together when we were at, was it Essen together, I think, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
it was,
that was a lot of fun.
Yeah, it was good fun. And I think I did play it for a little while. I probably went for about 6 months, and I used to play on my lunch break at work and stuff. And then I think I got to a point where I was like, I'm never going to be like really, really good at this. And,
yes.
Or whatever. I think potentially some of the randomness of what deck you happen to get got to me a bit. And I was just like,
yeah, that can be a turn-off for some
real
people.
Fun.
Sure.
Yeah, I had real fun playing it, and
yes.
I got some little blinged out bits for it and all sorts. So a bunch of different decks just to see what they did. I thought it was a really cool kind of concept. And
yeah. No, I think the concept's fantastic. The idea that you could just buy a pack and you're good to go, and there's nothing to build. Now, again, some people, they love the deck building part, so that's a turn-off for them. But I always liked that aspect of this particular game, because I have other games I can do deck building for, like Ashes and things like that if I want to. But yeah. Someone's asking a very dangerous question. Will you make a Watch It Played episode for a coin game? Don't get me back on coin. I would like to. My schedule for this year is booked pretty solid. So that's not the kind of game you can just sort of wedge in. But I really want to. I even thought about doing a coin class where people could sign up for. There'd be a small fee, but basically you'd join my class and we'd do like a Zoom of like 10, 15 people maybe. And I would teach it. I feel like I'm getting pretty competent in my capacity to teach the game and make it, I think, more accessible than the rule book does. I think a solid teach of it makes the game like, oh, this is not nearly as complicated as it appears to be. I mean, there's a lot going on. It's a dense game, don't get me wrong, but I think it's much more approachable than maybe it can feel like sometimes. So, Jeremiah Blob would like to know who drew the Watch It Played cartoon characters on the logo that resemble those actors I see on this channel. Great question. Their name is Callie on Twitter, but I don't know their full name because we've interacted mainly through Twitter and stuff. And it was recommended to me, and they did a wonderful job, I thought, on the art. And we might have a couple more to add to the channel soon, which I'm looking forward to sharing. Okay, I'm going to answer just 2 more questions. And then the nice thing about this is this will save the questions for next time. So anything we didn't get to, I can come back and do later. Sorry, there might be 3 questions because I know who this question's from. Do you even care that the timing of this show is breaking Amanda Panda's heart? Signed, a friend. So Amanda Panda, prolific commenter on a variety of live shows, and also live streaming currently herself right now over on Twitch. And I didn't realize that we were timing these at the same time. So Amanda Panda likes to join It's live shows when they're on, and her and Jackie together. And I imagine the friend who wrote that was Jackie, who was accusing me of breaking Amanda Panda's heart. I was broken. My heart was broken too, that Amanda wasn't going to be able to make it, but for good reason. She's doing her own live stream right now. So when this is done, maybe check out Amanda Panda's channel if you want to check out some more live streaming. Someone asked, how complicated has it been collaborating across time zones and countries for your recent videos? I've been really enjoying the new content and the expansion of the Watch It Played team. Well, thank you, James, for that. You know, somebody asked, we can kind of do a 2-for-1, because the top question right now in the chat is, does your team ever sleep? The amount of work y'all do for the channel, plus other channels, plus family, plus friends, plus life, plus gaming, plus, I've run out of things, but you get it. Are you all actually vampires or robots or vampire robots? You can trust your audience not to divulge your secrets. The time zone differences work. We make it work. When we shoot our top 10 videos, we are shooting those at separate times. Chaz does a marvelous job crafting the scripts, and we come together. We'll do a table read together when we can, and then we'll go away and record our bits separately, and then through the magic of editing, create that in-person feel. But I think a lot of that in-person feel doesn't just come from crafty editing. We spend a lot of time talking to each other, and there's a real relationship behind those interactions, and it's not difficult to bring that to life when we're doing it for the camera, because you have that in the back of your mind. You have those, Chaz and I have been friends for years and years and years, and Paul and Matthew, that relationship's been growing, just kind of blossoming over the last year and beyond, because I knew Matthew before that, and of course knew Paula before that too. We've had online friendships through social media and that, but now it's, I guess you could say, turning into like real friendships with a foundation under it, right? So that certainly helps a lot. But yes, certainly there's a lot of work to the channel. I don't bemoan it though. It's a privilege to be able to have a career where this is what I do, and I'm very excited and thankful to be able to do it. And it's because people watch and share and support it, and I'm excited to see what the next chapters are going to be, which include things like AireCon and Watch It Played teaming up for the next event. So that'll be just another great thing we get to do together, and I imagine at AireCon there'll be very little sleep there too. I suspect for everyone involved. Well, listen, Mark, thank you so much for taking the time out to join me today, because I know you're in the UK, so your time zone's a little different right now as well, and I want you to be able to get back to your family. But thanks again, and I appreciate you reaching out to talk about the potential collaboration that we're going to be doing together. I'm excited to be able to do it, and I think it'll be something fun, hopefully for attendees that come. And I hope that we get to, as Watch It Played, I'm really hoping that we get to meet some people who are going there for their first time, and that this is their first experience, and hopefully we can help contribute to making that a good time for them. And I'm really also looking forward to going back and seeing attendees that I made friends with in previous AireCons that I have not seen in years. And it's great because many of those people, I'll interact with online, and we stay in touch. And those are relationships that have also kind of grown over that time, which is really nice. And I look forward to seeing you too, Mark. I'll say that as well.
We'll have to plan another daring boat maneuver or something.
That's right, some kind of daring adventure. We should plan something at the very least. But, well, everyone, thank you all for joining us for another It's Live show. And until next time, thanks for watching.